Talking to John Keim, Redskins reporter for ESPN. What do you make of these rumors swirling about the general manager, Scott McCloughan? Chris Cooley, I guess, talks about him maybe drinking, and also the fact that he's not talking to the media, that he's been muzzled by Bruce Allen. What do you make of all of it?
Well, let me just say this, just before John answers. He acknowledged in his ESPN article that he's drinking. I mean, that's no secret.
But what if
that was in an article?
What if it's getting worse?
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah.
John?
Yeah, I think that's a tough one, guys.
You think it's a little tough?
Yeah, no one wants to touch that one. No one wants to touch that one.
I mean, I don't want to talk about somebody's personal whatever,
right.
But I can say that I think this is it's a little bit more complicated. I do believe that there's I think with the Cousins situation, and you throw that into it, and I think there have been some things that have come out that I don't think that some people there were happy about. And I think you can look and say, from their perspective, you look and say, okay, there's this, and what's happened in free agency, what's happened in the draft, has it been enough to offset some other things? And then you add it up. So I think, I think some of that is just kind of hard without concrete evidence of things or whatever, but I do think that there's always drama out there, man.
There's something there.
Well, there's some tension. There's some tension.
It's like the White House,
right? I mean, it's not just.
I think.
Yeah.
I think there is, but it's funny because it depends. Sometimes I was talking to someone who knows Scott well last night. And I said, "Does he seem different when you're talking to him?" He's like, "No, he was surprised at what I was asking him." So, but I don't. So, I think there's always. I think the Cousins thing is a tricky situation, just because I think they kind of, I think they really. And listen, I think it's when someone doesn't talk to the media, it's unusual, especially in his role when he's not allowed to talk. That's unusual. It's not about whining and saying, "No, please talk to me." It's just remarking that this is unusual, and so you start to wonder, why is that? And I think that's a natural reaction. But I think with the Cousins thing, I think there's a desire to be very, very quiet about any thoughts they have on the situation, and so we go. So
right,
so there you are.
We threw John a Mike Mussina knuckle curve.
How about that 100? How about that 100 TV show? Huh?
Yeah.
Hey, that's a great show.
Real quick, John, just to kind of wrap this up, do you think that, let's just assume that the Skins are going to sign him to the non-exclusive tag? Do you think that another team will offer something enticing to the Skins where they're going to have to ponder whether they sign him to that tag or sign him to a one-year deal or take that offer? Do you think that's going to happen?
Yeah, I think it's funny because I've talked to people who know Kyle Shanahan pretty well, and they think that the answer I keep getting is hell yeah, he'd trade for him. But then I was like, well, would he do 2 picks for him? I was like, well, I think so. But I don't know. I think the 49ers are the one team to watch, just because you have a guy who has worked with him, who really, really likes him, who needs a quarterback. I couldn't see any way, if they trade the number 2 pick in the draft for him, I'd be shocked, and I'd say I can't believe that. Now, it doesn't mean it wouldn't happen, but I would be shocked by that, just because that seems awfully, awfully high to have to give up that sort of a pick and pay him. Then if you look at some of the other teams like the Browns or the Bears, I think those would be options, but if he was open. But I have a hard time believing that they would do that, given that they don't have guys who have ties to Kirk Cousins, and so that's an awful lot to give up for a guy who you would not consider at this point certainly an elite quarterback. So I have a hard time believing others would. I think the one to watch would be the 49ers, just for that reason, because we know that Kyle Shanahan really likes the guy. But then it's a matter of, okay, is it 2 second-round picks? Is it a second or a third and a first? What is it? And it certainly wouldn't. It would. To me, if I'm the Niners, it would have to be a future one. And then you're looking at that roster and you're saying, it may be a top 10 pick next year too. So do you really want to do that? and pay him $24 million a year.
He may not be elite. I know we got to run, John. He may not be elite, but he's very good, and I think he would lock up your quarterback position for the next 5 years. I would do it personally. Maybe not for the number two, but I'd do it for 2 ones.
Not for the number two, and I think that would be the thinking. Again, but I think it takes somebody who knows him and has worked with him to pull that trigger. I think the guys who have worked with Cousins have a much stronger opinion than those who have not. And that's why I say that.
That's fair.